Welcome back to the Who's Yanks. Bienvenue la Who's Yanks. We're talking Canada soccer and U.S. soccer. Tonight we're going to be talking about the U.S.'s path to qualification. Final step, they've got the win last game against Panama. Unfortunately, they couldn't qualify because Costa Rica took care of what they had to do. And so at this point, the USA is almost just about everything but in. As I said, we're going to be going over their World Cup qualifying scenario. And it basically is one thing: don't lose by more than 6 or more goals. Given that the USA currently is second place in goal differential ahead of Mexico by probably a significant amount too. So that's basically the thing about the only thing that the USA has is don't lose by more than by 6 goals or more. Costa Rica, and yeah, I mean, before I go on, it's like I know a lot of people say, "Oh, that's easy, right? Just play for you can just play to lose whatever X amount, or just do X, Y, Z, right?" But my book, I say no. Always play to win. Play your game, and as I hope to God, Greg Ballhutcher is going to be doing here. As I mean, anytime people try and play to those kind of calculations or speculations, I'm like, it always seems to go wrong. Look at last cycle against Trinidad and Tobago. All the USA needed was at least a draw against Trinidad and Tobago. Let alone a win would have should have happened. Should have, could have, would have, didn't. Um, Everybody's thoughts. Oh, Trinidad and Tobago. All we gotta do is tie. Easy. We're going into the World Cup. Russia, we'll see you there in 2018. Not so fast, said Trinidad and Tobago. It was one of the worst games, if not the worst game in USMNT history I've ever seen, as well as has ever been recorded and witnessed. As the USA played the worst game of their life, I'm pretty sure, with the last generation. Not even this generation. Christian Pulisic was on that team, but I don't fault him for the collapse. But Michael Bradley out the door, that generation when it was long overdue for a change in generation. I mean, it was an own goal that happened there. I mean, and then Trinidad just took care of business, and somehow, some way, the USA could not even win in Trinidad, which was mind blowing and was really really upsetting. And yeah, that was just really really annoying to watch and upsetting. I still can't believe it, but now it's the time for redemption. So hopefully they also have that on mind as well. Hey, we cannot play to just do the bare minimum, right? We cannot play. I mean, yes, you can play a little loose, but at the same time, I mean, if I'm them, just play your game. You play to win. Um, Unfortunately, I know how they said you can play for pots and stuff, pots 1 and 2, but it looks like the USA will be in pot 2, given how the rankings are. They're ranked 11th as it currently stands. Mexico is 10th, so them and Mexico may be in the same pot, assuming Mexico takes care of business tomorrow as well. But in terms of, yeah, just take care of business, just get the 3 points. And Greg Berhalter, I think he said in a press conference, he said the USA will be looking, this team in particular, will be looking to be that first team to ever win in Costa Rica, which, there you go, gives you something to play for, right? Not just something to be, oh, we just can't lose by X amount of goals, right? I mean, go down there, play your game. Heck, take this game as a game to work on chemistry, and if you need it. I mean, it's too early to say, but look at it as a tune-up game to strengthen the chemistry between some players. And Greg Berhalter accordingly says he's going to go with his best lineup, or the best lineup that will get this job done. So there you go. Strengthen that. Use those players to work on their bonds and passing, and just strengthen that chemistry with them, right? And go down there to win, not to tie, not to lose. We go down there to win, and that's exactly the same attitude I expect from this team. Hopefully, they come out firing on all cylinders. But it is good to know that there is a buffer that should they not be able to win, yeah, you just can't lose by anything more than 5 goals, 6 or more, and you're looking at. I mean, worst case, as I said, even in the worst case scenario, you're looking at probably playing New Zealand. But then again, the goal of the USMNT is to qualify outright. Don't matter what position, first, second, or third. You just need to be in those top 3 positions and just book your seat to Qatar. And that's all I care about basically for them. But just get the job done. And there's only, as I said, there's one scenario. Just don't lose by more than 6 goals. And before we go, I mean, this video is going to be relatively short. There's an article from ESPN I do want to read to you guys, and it's talking about the quest that the USMNT seeks to make in Costa Rica tomorrow. And without further ado, here it is. The United States is looking to make history in qualifying finale in Costa Rica. Picture of Christian Pulisic, Captain America, as always. And then in San Jose, Costa Rica, despite being able to lose by 5 goals or fewer against Costa Rica on Wednesday and still qualify for the World Cup, Coach Greg Balter and his players for the United States men's national team maintain their intent to win, which means unaffected. As I said, it's always a mentality you should have taken down there into these kind of environments too. Tough place to play as well. Few players remain from the group that failed that qualified for the 2018 World Cup cycle, but the lesson remains. Obviously, we're in a great situation, and we know that. But I think going into the Trinidad game, we thought we were in a good situation as well, said right back DeAndre Yedlin. One of the 4 players, along with Christian Pulisic, Paul Ariel, and Kellen Acosta on the current roster, who played in that notorious loss to Trinidad and Tobago in 2017, that kept them out of the last World Cup in Russia. As I said, you go down there to win, and that's the thing about this generation. Before I continue, just also remember that they're taking on the horrors of 2018 on their back, so they're taking all the pressure right now. And so far, they've turned into diamonds. They've performed under pressure really, really well. But the thing is, it's not over until it's over. As I said in my Canada video earlier today, it's not over until it's over. You run through the tape. We don't settle for anything less. Just get it done. It would take an even larger disaster for the USA to miss out on this time around. The Americans have not lost by 6 goals or more since a 6-0 loss to France in a friendly in 1979. Don't let that be 2022 to Costa Rica. Don't get blown out in general. Play to win. The incentive to qualify is paired with the possibility of making history in Costa Rica, where their team is no wins, 9 draws, and 2 I think is a win-loss tie, but 9-2. It's not been great. I think that's 9 losses and 2 draws all the time in World Cup qualifying. In the last qualifying cycle, the USMNT lost 4-0 at Costa Rica, which prompted the dismissal of Coach Jurgen Klinsmann. We're in a position right now where history sort of speaks, where we can come to Costa Rica and get the first win in the qualifying process for the national team, said Tyler Adams, midfielder. And he said, for us, it's again putting a check mark next to something that no other team has done. So it looks like they're taking the same mentality as they did into Azteca, where they sought to be the first team to beat Mexico in Azteca before the final World Cup qualifying, since we don't know when it's going to happen again. But unfortunately, they tied. But hey, they will take a point any day at the Azteca. He said, we've had this game by game mentality, and some of the stipulations come with it that can be one of the first teams to do this and to have this accomplishment. With 1 game left, Canada with 28 points is the lone team at CONCACAF that has already qualified. By the way, if you haven't seen my videos on that, please check them out. The U.S. and Mexico, 25-point seed, are just about there due to their advantage over Costa Rica, 22 points on goal differential. The top 3 finishers in CONCACAF automatically qualify for the Qatar World Cup, while the 4th-place finisher heads to a 1-game playoff against the winner of Oceania Confederation, most likely New Zealand, or it could be the Solomon Islands. Upsets that can happen in June, though. Costa Rica coach Luis Fernando Suarez faces the interesting dilemma. The Ticos have 9 players on yellow cards, and if any of them receive a yellow card against the USMNT, they would assuming they were finishing 4th in CONCACAF, would be suspended for that playoff match. And the situation rises that possibility that Costa Rica will sit its best players to secure that availability in that playoff game. And that's another thing I kept saying is, how is Costa Rica going to play this? Are they going to be smart and wise and say their best players, or are they just going to try and go all or nothing and try and just secure the World Cup berth as it is? It is not going to change by tomorrow, but it's a dumb rule, and I agree, Berhalter said. He said, we go 14 rounds, and if a guy gets a yellow in the 14th round, they sit out the biggest game. And I don't like that for CONCACAF either, as it's stupid. You get one. Let's say you get a yellow card in the first game. That means you sit 12 games on a yellow card, and you have to get another one to refresh it. It's so baloney. But hey, I don't make the rules of CONCACAF. Maybe they'll change it going forward. Maybe they'll change it for the 2026 World Cup cycle. Although for the U.S. and Canada, it wouldn't take effect until 2030. It doesn't make any sense, and I feel for either us or Costa Rica who will have to deal with that. We're projecting that they are going to play the best lineup, that they're going to go for all of it, as you should always do, but they might change. We have their best players identified on the roster. We scouted all their players and scouted the potential changes. Right back Reggie Cannon also returned to the U.S. squad on Tuesday, Berhalter said, and was set to practice with the team. He missed the last 2 games against Mexico and Panama after testing positive for COVID-19. And so, yeah, that's that article. And as I said, a few points that I agree with, of course. One, I like Greg Berhalter's mentality according to that article. Let's see if he'll perform it tomorrow and go through with it. But you play to win. And even though Costa Rica is said to not bring their best lineup tomorrow, you always should plan for it. As typically in sports, we've always seen this over and over and over. No matter how many times you say, "Oh, they're not going to play the best team," they do the opposite, or vice versa. And it's always better to overplan than to underplan and underestimate your opponent. So, therefore, from the USA, you're taking the right mentality. Going to Costa Rica and Los Ticos, going with a win. Just play your normal game, and whatever happens, happens. And hopefully the USA does not get blown out. I don't even want to see a 3-0 loss. A 2-0 loss is decently acceptable, I know. But I just want to see the USA just play well. Go out there and just play your normal game, and the result will follow. But if you go out there looking lackluster and sluggish, well, you can expect another Trinidad Tobago Ghost of Cuba horror, and it will come back to haunt you. So go down there, as I've already said repeatedly over and over in this video, play to win, leave nothing else on the table, and whatever shakes out, shakes out. If you lose, fine, just don't get blown out. And that's pretty much all I got to say for that. So if the door is wide open, and if the U.S. somehow bottles this will be even worse than Cuba. So even though they'll still be guaranteed a 4th place playoff spot against New Zealand, but it would still be quite the massive choke from the USMNT, given how they've basically been in 2nd place all qualifying long. So we'll see what they will do tomorrow, but for this video, that's it. So if you like this video, make sure you like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about it. Also, before you go, make sure you hit the bell notifications, turn on video notifications, and that way you know when I upload and something's posted. And finally, tell all your friends, the USA is really, really on the threshold to qualifying for the World Cup to Qatar tomorrow at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time.